So I recently bought something new. For those who don't know, this is the Polaroid SX-70. How cool is that? Yeah, so what better way to play with this camera than going for a photo walk at a nearby park. So let's go. So before we proceed on with the photo walk, I have never shot Polaroid before, not that I can recall actually. But yeah, let's just take it as the first time I'm ever shooting Polaroid. Doing my due diligence, I actually went to search on the internet and on YouTube, and these are the 4 things that I found helpful, and perhaps it could be helpful for those as well who are looking to shoot Polaroids and it being their first time. So tip number 1. Keep your Polaroids cool. So I don't know what chemicals there are within the Polaroids, but I read that these chemicals like to be cold. So the moment I received my packets, I immediately stored them in the fridge. Tip number 2. Shield the Polaroid from direct sunlight while it's being developed. So I understand that the newer Polaroids have this thing called the frog tongue, so that when your film is being developed, there's this like film layer that covers it while it's coming out from the camera. The SX-70 doesn't have it. However, the frog tongue is sold separately, and I didn't really want to buy it because some users of that frog tongue have had their Polaroids jammed in the camera. So upon further research to see what other Polaroid shooters have done, some of them have mentioned that they have used this protective layer thing. I don't know what exactly it's called, but I do know that when you load the Polaroid film into the camera, something comes out of it and they use that. They have just simply taped that protective film over the lid of the SX-70 so that when the film comes out, it actually pushes that protective layer and yeah, it protects the film, essentially working as a DIY frog tongue. So that is something that I will be doing today. So tip number 3, create your own cooling bag. So as you already known from tip number 1 that Polaroids like being in cool places, and Singapore is not exactly a very cool place. It's always very hot and sunny. So what I have done today is that I have created my own cooling bag, and inside this cooling bag has a couple packets of ice that I will be keeping my Polaroids in to keep it cool during its development process. And last but not least, tip number 4. Shoot at about -1/3 of a stop. We will try that out and we will actually see if the pictures are too dark. I like my dark pictures. I'm a moody guy. So yeah, without further ado, let's go for the photo walk. So yeah, as you could see, I don't know what happened earlier on when I inserted the Polaroid cartridge. The dark slide was supposed to come out, but nothing came out. I pressed the shutter and nothing responded. So I headed back home and spent a couple of hours just trying to solve the issue. And miraculously, I actually found a solution that worked. And yeah, the Polaroid now is working and I am back out to do the photo walk at the park. So let's see what we can get. So as mentioned earlier on, this is the dark slide that came out. Again, a reminder to actually keep your Polaroids cool. So yeah, I am just gonna do my own little DIY frog tongue. So yep. Yep, there you go. I hope this works. Carrying way too many things, man. Carrying way too many things. I will sacrifice myself and look weird and funny for the sake of an experiment. Yeah, so I'm just still walking around trying to see what catches my attention and yeah, snap some photos. One cartridge of Polaroid has 8 films. I'm trying not to just go too trigger happy. I'm trying to really see something that captures my attention or something that's unique here in this park. And yeah, I will be shooting it very sparingly because the Polaroids are really expensive. So what I'm trying to experiment with today is to see if there would be any differences in the way the Polaroids look just from the way that they're being stored. You will see that I will be taking two pictures of the same thing for this experiment. The first picture taken will be covered with my DIY frog tongue and immediately stored into the ice bag. And the second picture will not follow those rules. I will simply just take them out from the camera and storing them in the side pocket of my bag. We will discuss the differences of each method later on in the video, so stay tuned. And just like that, the first cartridge is done. That's very fast, but then again, I was taking two pictures of the same thing. But anyways, now I am just taking a short break and I will be reloading the camera again and continue the photo walk. As I'm changing the film, a thought occurred to me that actually ever since I started this YouTube thing and coming out to take pictures, I realized that it's a good practice for me. You know, I usually just stay at home and do my own thing, and that's perfectly fine. I don't really like to go out, but ever since I picked up the hobby of photography again, I find myself leaving the house more often and actually thinking of ideas to actually get out of the house and do some stuff. So yeah, it's good that I can get at least some exercise or some steps in. Let me get this second cartridge into this camera. It's so cute that like it seems like every cartridge has like a tip on how to store or take care of Polaroids. Interesting. I actually decided to leave the Polaroids to develop for another 24 hours. The ones that were co-developed, I came home and took them out from the ice bag and quickly put them in the fridge. And the ones that were just placed at the side pockets of my bag, I came home, put them in my room face down so that they wouldn't be affected by sunlight or any form of light that might actually affect the developing process. I just wanted to kind of have an assurance that they were being developed properly to get the best results. So I actually don't have a flatbed scanner with me yet. So what I did was just use my phone with the Polaroid app and I just scanned these images in. The pictures aren't like the highest quality, but I think you'll be shocked to see that there are some differences. So let's take a look. So I guess that sums up the differences between storing the Polaroids in an ice bag and the ones that were stored normally. The main differences being that the one stored in an ice bag has slightly more contrast and lesser of a magenta shift. Don't get me wrong, the magenta shift is still there, it's still present in the ones that were stored in the ice bag, but they are significantly much lesser as compared to the ones that were stored in the side pocket of my bag. Now, would I be bringing an ice bag with me whenever I am shooting on the SX-70? Probably not. but I do see cases and instances where they are required, such as professional shoots with models or portraitures or architecture even, where I do believe this small difference in contrast and the magenta shift is important. But if it's to just document like daily life, I don't think that it is worth the hassle. So why Polaroid? And I did ask myself this question. So I am in the midst of actually transitioning to shooting more film, and I think shooting Polaroids is a good like intersection between the digital and the analog world. You know, film is expensive, especially Polaroids. It's just exposures for $38 here in Singapore, and that's very expensive. It being expensive creates this mindset that I have to be more intentional and purposeful with the shots that I want to capture and not just be too trigger happy. And also being able to see the Polaroid or the picture that comes out after it's being taken puts the mind at ease, at least while transitioning from digital to analog. I think shooting on Polaroid is a good way to ease into that mindset that this is what you have taken and this is basically the result, and whether the picture is good or bad, you have to deal with it. And yeah, I guess that concludes my experience with the Polaroid SX-70. I hope this video has been useful to those who are looking to purchase their very own Polaroids SX-70 or just to be shooting on Polaroid in general. You know, if you have any questions about my experience using this camera, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below, and I will always respond to the comments. So yeah, I guess this wraps it up, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace!